G'day, it's Eric Backer, naturopath from New Zealand, author of Candida Crusher. Thanks for checking out my video. A question I get asked from time to time, I get asked about fermented and cultured foods, and patients often ask me, is kefir any good for thrush? Is it any good for a yeast infection? Will it be beneficial for me? How do I take it? How do I make it? What does it taste like? So I'm going to do over time a series of different videos on kefir and explain a little bit more about it. But kefir is a quite interesting substance, and the name kefir really originates from the Caucasus region in Russia from the 1880s. So, like Bulgaria, the Russians, and Ukrainian people have long known about cultured milk. Now, how this came about really a long time ago is milk would be kept in skin bags. And of course it soured over time, and then people started to realize that it didn't taste that bad, and it in fact proved things like gas, bloating were improved by having this substance. Well, back in the 1880s, they had no idea about, bacteria. They didn't know about lactobacillus acidophilus or bifidobacteria, propionobacteria. They had no idea, but they knew that this sour stuff stopped gas and bloating. This is called empirical observation. So empirical observation is very important, and we know that people have had soured products going back hundreds of years. So why I like kefir? Not because I'm Dutch and I like saving money like some people think. I like kefir because you can use it again and again and again, okay? The grains basically keep growing. So once you made this culture, you use some grains, and it's basically a lump of, it looks like a cauliflower lump when you look at the grains. It's basically lipids, it's like fats and proteins and carbohydrates with different beneficial bacteria mixed in there. And when kept at a sort of room temperature in a medium which contains enough lactose, like a milk sugar in there, or a kind of sugar, it will feed on the sugar and create lactic acid. So kefir is about 25%, I believe, lactic acid. And lactic acid is extremely good stuff for the colon to develop and to build beneficial bacteria on. So when you have kefir in your diet, make darn sure that you eat also food for the kefir's bacteria, or the lactic acid is going to help produce the bacteria, that they've got something to grow on. And this means eating the right kind of fibers in your diet. There's no point having a piece of pizza and a glass of beer and then having a glass of kefir, thinking you're going to do yourself good. You're wasting your time. If you're going to have kefir in your diet regularly, make sure you eat good vegetables, all right? Plenty of good vegetables containing fiber, green vegetables, all right? Lots of green vegetables. It's going to really help you a lot. And there are other kinds of soluble fibers you can have too in your diet. Go and check out my article about fibers, soluble fibers, insoluble fibers on yeastinfection.org. So when you do kefir, you start slow. Don't start with a pint a day, like 600 mils. You're going to get quite sick if you do that. And many patients have contacted me with bloating and diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, because they went hard out with these sort of foods. Always start slow. If you came to me and said, Eric, I haven't been to the gym before, but tomorrow I'm going to go, I'm going to work out for 3 hours, and then the following day I'm going to work out for 3 hours and go for a 5-mile hike, I'm going to tell you you're crazy, because you're going to hurt like hell. And you wouldn't do that because you know you're going to hurt. But the thing with kefir, people often will go out and make kefir and start drinking, 3 or 4 glasses a day, and then complain to me they're getting sick. So remember, you're changing your interior environment substantially, all right? And that could really upset the beneficial balance and the unbeneficial balance of bacteria and make you feel quite spaced out and sick. Many people think they get die-off when they take these foods, but they don't. What they're doing is they're creating a really big struggle between the good and the bad in their digestive system by starting out too hard out. So start out with a small amount, and I'm talking maybe a tablespoon, if that, per day, maybe for the first week if you've got a bad yeast infection, and gradually build up, all right? 250 mils, or a cup is not out of the question. It's quite good to have. The kefir is exceptionally good for thrush. It's also really good for women who are breastfeeding, because I know that it works well for infants, oral thrush. I know that it works also for jock itch, vaginal thrush, toenail fungus, intestinal, systemic yeast, any kind of yeast infection. Use kefir. Also, what you can do is soak a cotton bud in it, squeeze it out and dab it around the jock itch areas, around the vulva if you've got irritation there. Right? It works quite well. So, and I know some patients who actually soak their feet in a kefir solution and swear that it works fantastically. So do use kefir. All right, it's a premium food to take into your diet if you've got a yeast infection. You can't go wrong. Thanks for your question.